Hey everyone, I wanted to give you a little overview today on how to track your calories. If you didn't see my previous video about growing my glutes, I talked a little bit about how I use tracking my calories as a tool and sometimes still use today, but I use it as a tool to progress and reach my goals. So first and foremost, why would one track their calories? Tracking your calories is a great way to help you achieve a fitness or health goal. And you do that by consuming a certain amount of calories and a certain amount of macronutrients each day. And your macronutrients are your protein, carbs, and fat. But keep in mind that the best diet is the one that you can stick to. I think tracking your calories is a great tool, but if it doesn't work for you, then that's totally fine. You just need to find whatever does work best for you. And also, like I said in my glute growth video, I personally like tracking my calories because it isn't very restrictive and allows me to eat everything that I want in moderation. And tracking your calories is a great way to ensure you're in either a caloric deficit or a caloric surplus, which is usually needed when trying to achieve a fitness goal. If you haven't seen that previous glute growth video, I do recommend watching that one really quick to hear a little bit more about how tracking my calories has helped me progress and reach my goals. All right, so let's get started. First, you're going to want to download a calorie tracking app. There are a few good ones out there, but my favorite is MyFitnessPal. So you can go to the App Store, type in the name, and it should be the first one to pop up. Once it has finished downloading, you can then open the app and get started. It's going to ask you to create an account. I already have an account, but I'll make another one with a different email to show you guys the steps. Now it's going to ask you a bunch of questions so that it can give you a calorie goal. However, I wouldn't work off of this number right off the bat. The number it gives you doesn't take into account how much you eat now and doesn't allow for a slow buildup of calories. The number may be a good end goal for you, but I wouldn't focus on it too much in the beginning. Okay, so let's get through these questions. I'll answer as I would have when I first started my fitness journey and when I was very skinny and wanted to gain size. Okay, see, this calorie goal would have been very high for me compared to what I had been eating when I first started. So I suggest ignoring this number for now, but keep it in mind as a potential goal to work towards. Instead, I would start by tracking all the food you eat for about 2 to 3 days to get an idea of the average amount of calories you are currently consuming per day. And then based on where you are now and what your goal is, you can slowly increase or decrease the calories every 1 to 2 weeks. Or if you find that you're already eating the right number of calories, then you can focus on eating the right amount of each of the macronutrients, which I'll discuss more in a minute. Now, in general, when you want to lose weight, you want to be in a caloric deficit. And when you want to gain weight and size, then you want to be in a caloric surplus. Now, let me show you how to enter your food to figure out how many calories you're eating so we can do an example. First, you will go to the home page. Then you will click on this top section that says calories remaining, which will take you to where you can actually track your food. And this app makes entering your food pretty easy. You will click on add food and type the food you want to input in the search bar. For example, I'll type in scrambled eggs and press search. Now it will give you a list of different options and you can choose the one you think is most accurate. This first one seems good, so we'll click on it. And this is where you'll adjust the serving size. See here, the serving size is set to 1 large egg. If you click on this, you will get other options for different serving measurements, but we'll leave it as is. For this example, I'll say I had 3 scrambled eggs. So I'll go down to the next section that says number of servings and change it to 3. And now just press this check mark in the top right-hand corner to save your entry. Now you want to do this with all of your food. Enter everything no matter how small. Enter sauces, condiments, and drinks as well. Pretty much everything besides water. For this example today, let's say you enter all your food in for a couple days and find out that you're eating an average of about 1,400 calories a day and your goal is to gain size and muscle. And remember that initial calorie goal that the app gave me? See, that would have been way too high to jump to right off the bat if we're starting off at 1400. So first, I recommend actually using this number, your current average calories, as your calorie goal to start just for a few days. Because most likely you're not eating the correct amounts of your macros to get to this 1400 daily calorie intake. For example, like I stated in my previous video, you may be eating 1400 calories, but getting too many calories from carbs and too little calories from protein and fat. And as you guys know, or will soon find out, protein and fats are much more filling than carbs. So once you switch the correct macros, your body may need a little time to adjust. So let's set up your app with this information. First, you're going to click on More down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Then you will click on Goals. And finally, you will click on this option that says Calorie, Carbs, Protein, and Fat Goals. Here you can set your calorie and macro goals. So let's go ahead and enter 1400 in the calorie goals section. And for the macros, this will vary for each individual. However, I generally recommend to start off with 40% of calories from carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat. You'll have to listen to your body to see if this works for you or if you want to adjust these. However, I wouldn't stray too far off from these percentages. Okay, now that it is all set up, let's go back to the home screen. So you click on this back arrow 2 times and then press home in the bottom left-hand corner. Now we're at the home screen again. So like I said, I recommend just focusing on hitting your macro goals for a few days. Once this seems easy, then you can slowly start to increase your calories. Because remember, for this example, we're wanting to gain size and muscle, so we would want to increase. But keep in mind, every time you increase your calories, you want to focus on hitting that calorie goal as well as the new macro goals, which will also increase slightly. So just remember, each day you're trying to hit your calorie goal as well as your macro goals, specifically your protein, carbs, and fat. You can't just focus on your calorie goal and forget about the macros. The other nutrients here are important also, but I wouldn't worry about them until after you're on point with your main macros. Okay, so how do you make sure to hit your calories and macros? The best way is to plan out what you're going to eat the next day and track everything the night before. This way you can make sure everything adds up. There's nothing worse than just tracking as you go throughout the day and then realizing right before dinner that you have no more room for carbs or something like that. So as tedious and annoying as that may be, tracking the night before is very important. So let me take you through the process one time. Let's go back to where we enter our food. So let's say I planned out my eating for tomorrow, so I'm going to track it all now to make sure it works for me. So I already did an example day here. And of course, you should already know you're trying to make healthy choices as much as possible. Okay, so everything is entered and I hit pretty close to my calorie goal, so that's good. Now let's check on the macros. Okay, now see here, I had the right number of calories. However, I went over on my carbs and fat and under on my protein. This is an easy fix though, since you planned it out the night before. Let's go back to the tracking screen and see what we can adjust. So let me try reducing my mashed potatoes to a half a cup instead of 1 cup. And I'll try adding an extra ounce of chicken to my lunch. Now let's check the macros again. And now my macros are good. For me personally, as long as I'm within 10 grams of my goal for carbs and fat, over or under, then I'll take it. However, with protein, I try to always hit the goal as a minimum. But see, if you hadn't planned out your meals the night before and just tracked as you ate, you wouldn't have been able to catch and fix those mistakes. So that's basically all you need to do. Track each night for the day before. Yes, it's annoying, but it's a great tool to utilize. Or to make it easier, if you don't mind eating the same things every day, I used to track all my food on Sunday night and then eat the same things the entire week. That way I didn't have to track every day. And then the next week I would track again on Sunday and change it up slightly so I didn't get too bored. Okay, so quickly let's go back to the example just for the last part. So now you know how to hit your calorie and macro goals. I would work on hitting your goals with 1400 calories for a couple days. Once that seems easy, then I would try to increase your calories to 1500. And then you can keep increasing your calories every week or two, or once your body feels adjusted to the new calories, meaning you don't feel like disgustingly full anymore when you eat at your new calorie goal. And keep doing this until you hit your desired goals. And of course, like I touched on a little earlier, you do want to be focusing on making healthy choices. However, like I said in the beginning, one of the reasons I do love tracking your calories is because it does give you room to add some of the things that you enjoy. As long as you're hitting your macro and calorie goals, then it should be okay. But, overall for your health, you want to be making as many healthy choices as possible. All right, guys, that is just a basic overview of how to start tracking your calories. Remember, everyone is different and will have a different process to reaching their specific goals. So you may have a little time of trial and error to find what works for you. But I hope this helped, and let me know down below if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.